In this video I'm going to talk about the 3 major things that I learned from Dr. Doug Graham. So Dr. Doug Graham is the author of a book called the 80-10-10 diet. He's someone that's been in the raw vegan community for decades, and he's been following a raw vegan diet for many years, and he's pioneered or spearheaded in a lot of ways the movement towards a fruit-based diet, fruitarian style raw vegan diet. And he's been consistently teaching the same thing for a long time, which is very different to a lot of people. And I've got magazines and things where he's written articles from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, so I can see that he's pretty much saying the same stuff then as he is now, and I can see that, and other people have said that to me as well. He's one of the best teachers, one of the clearest teachers. He's got more information out there, probably created more books and information like CDs and lectures and DVDs and things like that than anyone really else in the raw vegan movement. So he's really been in it for a long time. The 3 major things I want to talk about. The first thing that I learned was to focus on a raw vegan diet that was high in fruit and not high in fat. So what tends to happen when someone goes towards raw food, they focus on this idea of raw, and as long as it's raw, it's okay. So a lot of people will get into it and they'll start having fruit and vegetables and nuts and seeds and things that they can eat that are raw or that they think are raw. And maybe some people even have, raw cheese or raw animal products and stuff like that. Well, what tends to happen is that people go towards these fatty foods, these high fat foods, because they want to feel full, they want to get that same feeling that cooked food gave them, and they want to have that satisfying fatty taste, I guess, as well. And what I learned from Doug and from his books and from his lectures is that you really need to base, for a successful long-term diet of any type that's good for your health, it needs to be a diet where the predominant amount of the calories are coming from carbohydrates. Whether that's a cooked diet or a raw vegan diet, you need to be getting a large amount of your calories from carbohydrates. And the recommendations that he points out, this similar to some other plant-based doctors and nutritionists, is that the fat should be lower than 10%. And the reason for that is that when the fat in the diet increases above 10%, and this comes from sports nutrition and from that kind of research, that the body's ability to uptake, utilise and transport oxygen into the bloodstream and sugar into the cells, that the body's ability to do these things that are part of the body's performance reduces as we see, or is inhibited as we see the fat in the diet increase. So if we want maximum performance and we want maximum health, we need to have our diet at a place where it's less than 10% of the calories are coming from fat. And that works out in a raw vegan diet can only really be done if we are basing our diet on fruit. We have to be eating the vast majority of our calories from fruit, and to do that we need to reduce sources of concentrated fats like nuts and seeds and oils and avocados to some extent, and fatty fruits to some extent. So that was one of the first things that I learned, one of the major things I learned, to focus on a raw vegan diet that is low in fat, high in fruit, high in carbohydrates. And I've really felt the difference when I've experimented with a low fat diet to a high fat diet raw. I've really felt a difference in a very big way, and you can really tell, and it's a lot better to be doing 80-10-10 raw vegan and high in fruit than it is to be going towards higher fats. And I know I've got friends and stuff that say, they start to allow more avocados to creep in, more seeds and nuts to creep into the dressings they're making. I just don't think it's worth it. I think it's best to try and stick to fruit and low fat when you're eating salads and things like that, most of the time keeping it low fat, because it's so easy for that fat to creep up. The next thing that he really taught was the idea of cravings that indicate that you've not eaten enough fruit. So he goes through this quite a lot in his lectures, but when you're eating a raw vegan diet, if you're craving something sweet at the end of the meal or the end of the day, it means you've not eaten enough fruit. And if you're craving something heavy and you really want something to fill you up, you've not eaten enough fruit. And if you're craving cooked carbohydrates or cooked food, it generally means, once again, you've not eaten enough fruit. Now, a lot of these things are maybe addictions from the past for some people, but if you've been following a raw vegan diet for a long time, then it's a good guideline when you start to think about, like, you want a big bag of nuts or something, or you want loads of avocados or anything like that. It's a good indication that you're not eating enough fruit, or you've not had enough fruit over the last few days, or something. You've maybe been exercising more, whatever it is, but you're just not getting enough carbohydrates, you're not getting enough fruit, and that will show in the fact that you're starting to crave anything that's more that's more calories. So he goes through these cravings. He also talks about the craving for, if you're craving salt, and then it's a good idea that you're maybe not eating enough vegetables. And I think he has one other craving that he talks about. I think the craving for concentrated sweetness. So once again, that's just that you're craving that you're not eating enough fruit. So that's the second major thing that I've learned from him. The idea that, and that's something I've proved to myself over and over and over, where I started moving towards the fats or start thinking about cooked food again, which actually is kind of rare, but just even the thought of it, or the idea of fats or whatever it is, and it makes you realise, right, I really haven't eaten enough fruit the last few days, or I'm eating juicy fruits that don't have enough calories. So you really need to focus on getting enough calories and getting enough calories from sweet fruits to satisfy your need for carbohydrates. The third thing he taught me specifically in line with lifestyle and diet, is really to have the focus on health. And when you go to his lectures and presentations, he really talks more about health than he does about raw vegan or any kind of diet or any particular thing. And if you look in his books as well, in the 8-10-10 diet, the start of that book, there is a list of 33 factors of health. So there's 33 factors there that are all sorts of things like laughter and sunshine and positive social relationships, gregariousness, expression of your creativity and appreciation of beauty, and all these things that you might have never thought are part of the gamut of your health, and not something to be perhaps obsessed with, but just something to be aware of and to have that health-focused life. So his philosophy behind that really impacted me. His philosophy of living towards your health, or moving towards your health, is something that really inspired me. I know that a lot of people out there, pardon me, and friends of mine have perhaps not been in alignment with Doug, or they don't quite feel like he's the person they want to learn from, or they expected more from him, or whatever it was. And I've known people that have fallen out with him and everything else. But if I just go back to the teachings, to the inspiration, to things that he's taught, all of that stuff, I really think he's right on about that. And there's a lot of people that maybe don't like him, or haven't had a disagreement with him, whatever it was, so they don't want to agree with him. They don't want to agree with his diet, and they want to believe something else is different, something else is right. But really, I think his information is really simple, really clear, makes a lot of sense, and he gets good results, and he's gotten good results for a lot of years from the people that he's worked with and the other people that are around him. And for me, the most successful people that I've seen in the raw vegan community in terms of the best levels of health long term have almost always been people that have been around Doug. It's always been the people that have been part of his team, the people that have been at his events, the people that have known him for 10, 20 years. These are the people that have done it long term and have maintained it. So he's a good person to get around if you want to learn this stuff. On Saturday, this Saturday at 8 p.m, we're having a live webinar where I'll be asking Doug questions in relation to the topic of the raw vegan diet, the raw food diet system, that never fails, or the raw food diet system for success that never fails. If you want to join us then, 8 p.m, there'll be a link below, fruitfest.co.uk/webinar. You can go to that page. There's a button that will take you to the webinar page and you can sign up. There's nothing that's going to come to you after you sign up. There's no information that's going to be kept or anything like that. The actual software, the Spreecast, they don't send you anything else out either. So it's just a one-time thing. You're not going to get bothered, but you'll get an alert to let you know that it's happening. It's 8 p.m. British Summer Time, BST, which is 1 hour behind GMT, or maybe ahead. I can't remember this, but you can check out 8 p.m. BST. Check that out. It's going to be really good. What I'm going to go over is what I've realised is that he doesn't just have this diet philosophy, but he's got a whole set of systems and habits in place, and maybe bits of equipment and ways that he stores things, and all sorts of little things that might not occur to you make it so much easier to follow, pardon me, a raw vegan diet long term, which I've witnessed because I've spent some time with him. I've spent some time in his house, staying overnight once or twice, and he stayed up with me one time. So I've been able to witness and watch what he does and see his perspective, and really it's very effortless the way that he does his diet. It's very little time. He spends very little time eating. He spends most of his time being productive and doing the things that he wants to do. So food is not the big obsession that you might think it is for him. But it'd be interesting for everyone to learn a little bit about little processes and things put in place to maybe make it easier for you, and maybe just the mindset and everything else. I really hope you can join us. You can ask questions. You can put questions down below this video. You can send me questions at I'll put an email address link below. You can send me questions if you like, and we can ask him some questions. And I think he'll maybe just talk a bit about that topic. He says he's got quite a lot of inspiration from that topic. So I hope to see a lot of you there. And I'll also be speaking about the Fruit Festival, because Saturday's going to be the last day that the Fruit Festival price, the early bird price, is going to be offered. So if you go to fruitfest.co.uk/registration, the prices that are there right now, that is the lowest prices that will be available. So if you want to sign up, Saturday is the date that all those prices, at midnight on Saturday, all those prices are going to go up. So please make sure if you're going to come, get in at that price so you can save a bit of money there. Looking forward to seeing as many on the webinar as possible, and looking forward to seeing a lot of you at the Fruit Festival. It's going to be another really enjoyable year, and hope to change a lot of lives, I think, and help people change their diet and lifestyle, moving towards a better level of health for the future, and possibly inspiring some people to go out and help and encourage other people and become leaders in the movement themselves, and that kind of thing. So it's going to be a great place to come and learn, to come and get inspired, to just come and relax and eat some of the best raw vegan food you'll ever eat, and enjoy time with inspiring new friends, wonderful people that are attracted to the event. So thank you very much. As I say, webinar on Saturday, the 29th, I think it is. The webinar on Saturday, 8 p.m. Join us, and we'll see you there. Bye.